record. So now we're official.
Okay, so official. So I'm happy to be back here with you all. Hopefully many of you were able to attend the Level Up event that happened this weekend virtually. And if you want to, I think there is a recording that you can purchase the replay, I believe, and it probably would be worth it just for some of the information that was shared. It was really a great event. But I think we've all gotten more and more proficient, hopefully, at virtual communication. But I'm like, all of you that have mentioned that tonight, is that we would like to really get back, hopefully, in person as soon as possible. And this was a really good feeling for those people who were there personally. So anyway, tonight we've got about 20 more minutes. And so Susan's going to join me, and we're going to just talk a little bit about, mindset, because how often have I heard, I've been here 34 years. As a matter of fact, this month is my 34th anniversary with the Juice Plus company. And how often have I heard people say, well, then one day I just decided I was going to do this. And they might have been, doing fine, but just kind of moving along, but not at the pace maybe they wanted to. And then there's a defining moment, and the decision's made, and they really grown up into top positions and really take advantage of everything this business and marketing plan has to offer. So, if we look at our business, our product's amazing. We all know that. The story's validated over and over. The research validates it. Our marketing model pays more than anything out there. Nothing comes close to it. 48% of the monies that a person spends on the product, if you take any box, 48% goes back to the field. That's unheard of in this particular profession and industry. So we know we have those things taken care of. So really the only thing to take care of after that is the you. You hear Jeff Roberti say, it's the man in the mirror, it's the person in the mirror that you're talking to, really. And usually that talking is going on in your head, okay, all day long. And usually it's the things that you feel challenged with. I know we all do that. And so our goal is just to give a few tips or ideas tonight on how we deal with not just the man in the mirror, but the person in your mind, and how we can really work at taking control of a mindset that brings you the best results. So I know Susan was going to touch on the 4 agreements. She's always brought such great information. I know she loves just the whole idea of people. I do too. Just the curiosity of people for me is great. I like hearing people's stories, not just their Juice Plus stories or their business stories, but their life stories. Mm-hmm. And I know Susan does as well. So Susan, you might want to just speak to the 4 agreements a bit, and then I have a few things too. So I'll go to you.
Okay, well, I was just thinking of something from Level Up where Johnny Thompson said, embrace your personality. This is who I am. And I think each one of us can work on, we're okay with who we are. We're good with who we are. And I think when we start comparing or doing something else, looking at other people, I think we can get stuck. And I think one of those things, the obstacles we get in our head about that we're not good enough, or what these stories we have, when we learn it from Brene Brown and different tools that we have that we're looking at. But I think when I would interview people or go through, we had like the main beliefs, and the beliefs would be in the product or the company or the industry or the product. And it always got down to belief in self. And so I think this journey to come home to ourselves, and it's okay who we are and how we grow and how we engage. And we all learn differently, and we all engage differently with people. And I think there's some skills that we can learn, And I've always, when I sign a new person up, or talked to somebody, I've always talked about the 4 agreements in along with your distributor app. And the 4 agreements are very simple. A little Don Miguel Ruiz wrote it long ago. And it's things that'll help enhance the quality of your life. And the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. And that means that do what you say you're going to do. If you're going to call somebody, you tell them you'll call them at 2 o'clock tomorrow, then you do that, or meet them at an event, or do things. Just be in integrity. The second one is don't take anything personally. What others do and say is about their reality. It's not about anything. We can't say anything wrong to the right person. It's about their timing. And if we get a rejection or somebody says, no, I'm not interested, it's okay. It's not anything that we did wrong to take personally. It just means we go next, next, next. And the third one is don't make assumptions. Because when we make assumptions, we're assuming, and we don't know about another person unless we have a conversation with them. So we get good at asking questions, and don't assume that somebody can't afford it. We don't know what they value. They may look like they don't have a big home or whatever and can't afford extra things, but they might have a need that we don't know about. So we have to answer this question, or don't assume they don't need the money because they have a great lifestyle. You don't know anything unless we ask questions. So be brave and talk to people, ask these questions. And the fourth assumption is always do your best, whatever that is. It's going to be different on every different day. And you may have a perfect day and get all your checklists done and your memory jogger called. And some days things happen, life happens, and you don't get there. So be kind to yourself and be gentle with yourself. And tomorrow's the new day. And I just love, that kind of thinking that helps us ease through this. And then the next part, of course, is learning the skill, is asking the questions and listening to the answers. So we talked a lot about the questions, Cheryl.
Yes, that, you want to listen long enough. And it's like Susan was saying, as far as really hearing people, and to listen not just intellectually, but listen with your heart.
Mhm.
That's one of the things, as I said, I'm always curious about people and want to know their stories. I want to know enough about the person so that there is an opportunity to more or less wrap this around what they want in their lives. And we all know, almost anybody you talk to, they want to be healthy. They want the people they love to be healthy. More so, people are more aware of that today, I think, than ever. In my lifetime, certainly, because of all that we've experienced. And people want to feel secure and safe. I mean, financially, Dr. Tamara Sachs, who's on our team, and I know many of you know Tamara, the statement she made at the Level Up event was, it's impossible to really be truly healthy if you live under, constant financial stress. So, we bring so much to the table. But again, that listening is to, be a good interviewer, find out about people. And then it's like looking for that place where you can say something to the effect, I understand how that feels if there's something you identify with, or I know so-and-so that's had a similar issue. You may really want to look at what, I have that's helped me, or, whatever is comfortable. And I think this is important to point out tonight too, as you listen to the various ways that people share their product, or the various ways that they go about developing their business, or the various results they've had on the product. It's all just food, but it's whatever the body needs. Everybody's just a little different. So, you're really looking at an authentic conversation where your heart cares for somebody else's best outcome. And I think, Susan, for me, that's, if we look at business philosophy, and I think we all, should ask ourselves that question too. What is your philosophy as far as the business that you do. Mine I evolved as I begin to look back on that. It's if you keep other people's best interests at heart, everything just kind of seems to come together just right. Would you say, Susan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had a team member long ago say, if you get out of your head and into your heart, and you're there to serve other people, not about making a sale, but about really caring about the other person and helping them and listening to them, that's when it all comes together. Because I was taught long ago that we are educators, and what we do is share our story, and we help other people realize that they have a need for more fruits and veggies, and we have the solution. So it's just kind of a simple process to go through that, and it takes away the pressure, the stress we put on ourselves to be, not to feel salesy, but to offer a gift. If we start thinking, I'm worried about what others are going to think about me if I try to sell them something, we're making it about ourselves and not about serving someone else.
And I think that's the most common thing in the world, though, is that we want to do a good job, and we want to, for it to work out right. So, you do worry about that. As a matter of fact, when I started my business, I felt like it was very important that nobody know that I had any kind of difficulty in my life. I wanted, I felt like I have to show up strong. I have to show up, and, life's got to look perfect. And that was really when my business really, and it did fine, but when it really took off was when I realized that if I were just vulnerable and authentic in the challenges that I had, instead of trying to be the perfect person, okay, or have the perfect business, or have, the perfect outcome, when I began to realize that, if I shared the authentic story of the difficulties as well, that opened a door for people to be able to share their concerns and their fears. I mean, Susan and I talked a lot about that too, is that, right now, especially, I think people have had to deal with fear so much that, it just would be almost a norm to feel that it would, be fearful. So, I've looked at ways that I've watched Susan, certainly as she comes with the 4 agreements. I know that's kind of been her, what would I say, Susan, your foundation for personal development, because
my beginning, I guess.
beginning, yes, as it began. And for me, a lot of it was, I love the Joseph Murphy books, and, his first one, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. That was one of the first books that helped me realize that, I could be in control of my thoughts, and that I, could be the one who, really worked at having that positive approach, because we live in a world that bombards us with negative, more so than ever before. And if you want to know what my first Joseph Murphy book looks like, here it is. It's like the cover's gone. It's got big green tape on the side, and I actually on the first pages had to tape the front back because I really work at, and I have to work at it. It's something that you don't just acquire like buying a car and you've got it, it's something you have to work at. Also, if you were on the Level Up event, you heard Tony Robbins right there at the end talk about your emotional home. And this really gave me pause for thought as well. And to look at, what is your first reaction emotionally? If somebody rejects you, do you feel like it's your fault, or maybe they're having a bad day? And he talked a lot about, that emotion. Let's see, I wrote it down somewhere. I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was so good. Emotion equals, okay, it's what you focus on is where you're going to land. And okay, focus equals feeling, and feeling equals outcome. So, or how you're going to interact. So if you look at what you're focusing on, he talked about, do you focus on what you have and what you have to be grateful for, or what you don't have, or what you're worried about? He said most of us tend to focus more on what's missing in our lives instead of what's great in our lives. And so if you look at taking yourself to positive thought, then that's where gratitude comes in. And that's something that I have found over my years with Juice Plus and this company, is that if I can really keep myself in that place of, looking for the things, especially when I first wake up in the morning or first ready to go to sleep. And it's not easy when you are bombarded with things, either personally or worldwide, that are negative. But, you can work at training yourself, you might say, in that regard. So, what you focus on is really important. What is it that you can control in your life, and what is it that you cannot? A lot of times people stay focused on things they can't control. And that's very normal too, because we're taught to, just if you look at evolution of man, you're taught to look for the things that are going to be the difficulty or the negative, so you can protect yourself. But you can also, in the world we live in today, become very important to focus on those things that would be positive in your life, and instead of the things that you can't control. So he says, if you can work at changing your emotional home, then you can totally change your life. If your emotional home is one that takes you down a negative path, bring it under control and let's go down a positive path. But that's not the easiest thing to do without consistent. And I think that's what Susan's talking about too, is really staying, I guess you'd say, committed to that person in the mirror, okay, that thought process in your head, because it's really going to be designed by your thinking and your thought. I also love what, let's see, it was right at the very end when it was said, the healthier we are, the healthier the world is, and the healthier the world is, the healthier we are. I really believe we truly have been called to a mission that's greater than just creating a living. It's really creating and helping other people create a life. Will be very important in helping people step up out of, what we have been experiencing here over the last 2 years. So Susan, anything else you'd like to say here as we close?
Oh, I have just a couple of things. Just saying, I keep reading inspirational things that lift me up, and thoughts from people I consider to have wisdom. And this one, Colin Powell, 13 Road Rules of Leadership, that I read. And his very first one is, it ain't as bad as you think. Look for the silver lining. Things may look bad today, but if you've put in the effort, tomorrow will be a brighter day. It's a state of mind. Believe it and you'll make it happen. And he was amazing. There's 13 points here, which I can mail out, but I love reading about things like that. And this is great. I read a lot of things that I try to learn from. And this is a little paper from Costco, the Costco magazine. And it says, empathy is being concerned about the human being, not just their output. That's from Simon Sinek that they quoted. And it says, leading with empathy means trying to walk in someone else's shoes and seeing things from their perspective, feeling what they feel and using those perspectives to guide you. Here's what empathy is, why empathy is so valuable for high-level leaders. And I think it's important for all of us in today's world to really understand each other and listen and embrace and offer what we can, which we've got a lot to offer.
But again, I think the message tonight from both of us is that you really want to look at what lifts you up, what inspires you. Again, it was mentioned tonight too, how much we all would like to get back together again, because that's one of the things that I always was inspiring to me, was to, and thank goodness for virtual Zoom because we really get to see each other. But there was a time when I literally made a list of the things that lifted me up, so I could go to that list when things were challenging. And there are times when I had to really step outside of myself and take control and say, okay, go to the list. Okay, because we all have challenges that come along, but whatever it is, be cognizant and aware of it. Sometimes for me, if frustration gets really high, I've got to go walk around the block 3 or 4 times. Sometimes it's just a matter of changing your state, but it's an important part of really success and leadership within our own business, is to be aware of what lifts you up, because that truly does make the difference, but it also puts you in position to help somebody else or help those others lift up as well. And again, I think that's what we're one of the things that we're about, is we're not just a product or a business or a way to make a living. We're truly a mission, and I think a moral obligation to people because of what we know and what we know our products and our business can do for others. So anyway, we're a little bit past time, but I really, Susan, thank you for all of your input.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I just want to say that I think it's how we think about things that is so important. And what you're talking about, Cheryl, influences how we think. And that's what also gives us quality of life.
Well, when you think about it, the only place you live is in your thoughts. I mean, that is your reality, is whatever the thought process or the thought pattern. That's something else Tony Robbins talked about, was, what is the pattern that runs in your mind, and how do you interrupt the pattern if it's not one that's serving you really well? How do you interrupt that pattern? They talk about it as far as staying in state, a happy, positive state. So, it comes from many different directions. There've been many authors over the years that I've loved to, use as my arsenal, you might say, to make sure that I'm in a state that's productive and positive. Norman Vincent Peale, Napoleon Hill, Dr. Joseph Murphy, but you come down to it, Tony Robbins is another. It's all about how do you take control of your thinking, your thoughts, and put yourself in the best place always for the happiest outcome for you, because then that's going to spill on to other people. And really the foundation of how our business functions at the highest level is that when you have that energy, because I truly believe our business is also, it's a transfer of energy. You can tell, I mean, when we come off the stage or you've done a presentation and you say, yes, you killed it. That it was, that the energy was good. When, you've had an interaction of any kind that feels good, it's all an energy exchange. So when we talk about, and I've watched this for 34 years, people listen to your feelings, not your words. The information doesn't matter so much. It's the feeling about the information. It's what Susan's saying, excuse me, as far as belief. So if your belief is strong, it won't matter how you describe it. I mean, fruits and vegetables are pretty simple, and making extra money is, something that makes sense to people. But if you're feeling deep down inside is that it's a wonderful thing for you and for other people, they're going to pick up on that energy. So that energy is fueled by the thought process that's going on in your head. And if the thought process is one that feels good and feels happy, then the response is going to be there. So if you're monitoring that and you're keeping other people's best interests at heart, the money will follow you home. The positions will grow. The business will flourish because of those very, very basic things that seem like they might be insignificant, but they're not. They're the foundation and the most powerful thing of all. So anyway, Susan, anything else here? Or we're gonna, before
I
we
think we're good. I think we're good. We can.
we brought you good thoughts tonight, but really to monitor yourself. If you have, and this is how I've learned for myself, if I have a conversation, an interaction, an event, anything where I don't feel wowed by it, then I try to look at what was the thought process in my mind as that was happening. And I've been able to identify and many times alter thoughts that really didn't serve me well, and find some that did serve me well, and make sure that I capitalize on those. So you want to be the guardian at the gate of the door of your mind. You want to make sure that you protect that mind from as much negativity as possible, and look for all the positive things. And then I also have things that I have, and I picked it up out of the Joseph Murphy books. If I find myself running down a negative track, I've got things that I plug right in. And I think I heard it was Pammy Shepley say, who is also in your organization, right, Susan?
Mm-hmm.
And Pammy saying, she constantly says, I live in miracles and everything goes my way. Anytime a negative thought comes up, I live in miracles and everything goes my way. So you deserve to tell yourself the very best always. So have those little things that you have captured that feel good, the one-liners, the things that you interrupt negative patterns with. And because where your focus goes, your feeling, and from your feeling becomes your actions. So anyway, we're a little past time, but we love having you here. And I would really encourage you, because the stories are so different every week. They're so powerful, and it's a wonderful place to come here on Thursday night and help you develop your business with what we have to offer to everyone, especially from a story standpoint. So thank you, Susan. Thank all of you on the line and all of you that spoke tonight. We really appreciate it and look forward to seeing everybody soon. Okay.
Thanks so much for all you do, Cheryl.
For all of you.
Yes, everybody, thank you.
Appreciate it. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Cheryl and Susan. It was good talking to you guys.
You too, Jackie. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night. Great
Thank
calling.
you so
Good
much.
night. Thank you.
Night, everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night.